Well, I think it's important for your viewers, Jesse, and the American people to know that there's never in history been a more total asymmetric, one-sided annihilation of the enemy than you are witnessing that is unfolding right now in Iran. The United States, under President Trump's leadership, has annihilated their Navy, has annihilated their missile capabilities, has dealt devastating strikes to the IRGC and their command structure, has taken out, in collaboration and coordination with Israel, their nation's sinister leadership and command structure.
Fantastic. Then let's come home. Let's go. I mean, Stephen Miller just told us we've annihilated everything in Iran. So why are we still there? Let's go home. Of course, Stephen Miller, after saying that, said we should stay longer. And now we're finding out ground troops are on the way. 5,000 ground troops are on the way. And it turns out also the president has absolutely no idea how to end this war. You're gonna see the actual quotes and numbers here. So John, tell us all about that.
Exactly. Why don't we jump into that? Because the president publicly certainly seems very confident about the war effort. He doesn't acknowledge any of the issues that we've faced. He says we are totally destroying the terrorist regime of Iran, militarily, economically, and otherwise. Yeah, if you read the failing New York Times, which has been failing for 10 years, for Donald Trump's view of that. Weird how that works. You would incorrectly think that we are not winning. And there he's referencing the fact that they've mentioned the fact that US service members have died, which is unacceptable. You're not supposed to do that. And they reported on the fact that we slaughtered 150 plus young girls. You're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to pretend that we never kill civilians. And so he says we have unparalleled firepower, unlimited ammunition, which is quite literally not true, and plenty of time. Watch what happens to these deranged scumbags today. We have plenty of time to do this. There's no rush to end it or anything. They've been killing innocent people all over the world for 47 years. And now I, as the 47th president of the United States of America, am killing them. What a great honor it is to do so. And if you just took that one True Social post and showed it to someone back in like 2012, their head would literally explode that this is how the world has decided to go. So that's his public facing persona. We got this, it's fine, there's no issues. And sometimes we find out from sources inside the administration that privately he's spinning a whole different sort of narrative. In this particular case, according to Barak Ravid, reporter for Axios, Trump is as confident about the war's outcome in private as he is in public. But yeah, it kind of seems like he's maybe a little bit overconfident. And so here's an example. Trump told G7 leaders in a virtual meeting on Wednesday that Iran is about to surrender, according to 3 officials from those countries. 24 hours later, Iran's new supreme leader issued his first public statement vowing to keep fighting. And so Trump has, yeah, publicly and apparently privately, he said Strait of Hormuz is fine, and then ships get blown up. The regime's gonna fall, and it's not. And he doesn't seem to have paid any attention to the military intelligence reports from before the war that said this strategy was not going to work to accomplish his goals. So it begs the question, why is he so confident then, considering the way the war is going and what the military told him about the likely path of the war? Well, it might be that it's just the problem he's always had, which is that he watches too much Fox News. And if you watch Fox News, here is the sort of coverage of this war that you're seeing.
Whether fake news CNN likes it or not, Iran's rogue regime is now getting crushed. Now think about this. The new supreme leader is either unwilling or unable to appear in person for his first public address. I'd like proof of life here. Or he's just scared to death and he's hiding in a bunker. So forget the hand-wringing, constant complaining on the left, because the objectives of this military campaign have always been very clear, very attainable, and now being met at an incredible pace.
Unequivocal, unambiguous, unforgiving. Operation Epic Fury will continue until the job is done.
We don't want to have to hit civilian infrastructure because we don't have a beef with the Iranian people. We want the country to be able to rebuild easily when the war is over and take their country back. But the regime leftovers are launching indiscriminate attacks against Middle Eastern neighborhoods and banks, refineries, even American consulates. Imagine they had a nuclear weapon. It's exactly why we're in this when we are.
And importantly, you have to imagine that because they never have, and there was no reason to believe they were going to. But Yeah, I think North Korean news could learn a lot from watching Fox News. You can lay it on even thicker than they typically do. And so that's bad. The fact that they whitewash the way the war is going. They utterly ignore the fact that we slaughtered all of those girls. Their lives don't matter. Remember that the next time they claim to be pro-life. The issue isn't just how they've covered the war so far. It's what they've been pushing for. And there, I mean ground troops. Take a look.
And the Iranians are still sitting on some uranium they squirreled away after Operation Midnight Hammer. That's too dangerous to leave in their hands. They're highly motivated to nuke up as fast as they can because it's their only defense. That makes Pickaxe Mountain, Iran's fortified underground facility, a major target. It needs to be secured, and that could require special forces at a later date.
We killed their commander, and we're killing a lot more, and the Israelis' intelligence on the ground is unbelievable. Hopefully that leads to grabbing that uranium out of some of those destroyed sites. Maybe that'll be something that'll be announced shortly. I just wonder how soon until we decide to grab that Karg Island, where 90% of all the Iranian oil is shipped. We have that. You want the ultimate leverage. We have it.
There it is on the map.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that that's something the president's talked about since the 80s. Everyone knows it, and that would really get their attention.
Oh, I didn't know that you could find it on a map. I mean, obviously then we should put Marines in harm's way, clearly. And Cenk, I don't know, I don't get the bragging. Like, hey, maybe we killed the new Ayatollah. Who cares? There's any number of Ayatollahs. They can put the robes in the hat on whoever they want. Why are you bragging so much? And the fact that like, oh no, we got to stop them from nuking. That's what you said before this attack. That's what you said before the last attack. When will it end? But if you're a 92-year-old average Fox viewer, you have seen every one of those black and white videos of a bomb coming down and hitting a truck. You've seen that 30,000 times on loop. And so you've been convinced that all of this is super easy, barely an inconvenience. And so, but now, as you've been warning about, they're pushing harder every day to send troops into Iran.
So we talked about how they're going to come up with excuses to put in ground troops. So here they are, Karg Island, that's a new one. Oh, you heard him say the uranium, there's loose uranium. I wonder if anyone warned you guys about this. Let's go to B6 here and see what we said on the show yesterday. So there are layers of regime destruction and collapse that Israel has planned. But you can't do even the first layer without ground troops. Because Iran, the Revolutionary Guard, guys, has a giant infrastructure throughout the entire country, like we do with our military and our police. So Israel knows all of this. That's why they need to reel you in little bit by little bit. Oh, we're doing it because nukes, oh, they're gonna kill you with the weapons of mass destruction. The same exact horse crap that they fed the American people through the collaborators in the American media about the Iraq war. And now they're connecting the nukes that don't exist at all with there's the loose uranium. We got to go collect the loose uranium. Well, what can we do? We need ground troops. Oh, and voila, ground troops appear. So right before the show started, Wall Street Journal and Axios reporting 5,000 Marines and sailors headed there for ground, and they are ground troops. They're meant to go on the ground. They're on their way. A couple of F-35s are going. A couple of warships are going. So the war's going so spectacularly well that, like Stephen Miller told you in the beginning, that's why we have to send in warships we didn't expect, F-35s we didn't expect, and 5,000 ground troops. So this is just like Iran. This is just by Iraq. By the way, also like Vietnam. Oh, just it's a small, limited contingent of forces. Oh my God, they got killed. No one could have seen that coming. We're gonna have to send in more to avenge them. 100%. And then we're gonna have to send in more to avenge them. Yes, John?
Stephen Miller can't wait for some of these Marines to be killed. I was listening earlier this week to Lindsey Graham saying that because Beirut was bombed, then that's why we should join the Israeli invasion of Lebanon to get revenge. They're still fetishizing the death of Marines from like 30 plus years ago. If some Marines are killed here, which if they're deployed, they will 100% beat the war drums. I mean, we sat there for the State of the Union, Cenk. They were already trying to get people all fired up. Look at all these soldiers and all these medals we're pinning on them. They want to get back into that post-invasion of Iraq. Just everybody bow down, don't question anything as long as a soldier's on screen. And so I feel like we are probably less than a week away from that once these soldiers start getting killed.
Yeah, for sure. And then they keep saying these dumb things like Jesse Waters just did, like, and then indiscriminate attacks against things like American consulates. We invaded them. We attacked them. What did you think they were gonna do? That's when you attack a country, they attack you back. That's the least indiscriminate thing I've ever heard. So I don't know what the hell he's talking. And that's the thing though. That's what Trump really expected. So I'm gonna get back to some of their dumb talking points in a second. But Trump really thought, and you could tell with his private meeting with the G7, that he was like, yeah, it's gonna be easy. And he's watching Fox News. All of his advisors work for Israel, and they're all telling him, oh, keep going, sir. It's so easy. Put more guys into the meat grinder, okay? Well, it's super easy. And he believes it like a moron. And he's like, Dad, the new guy's a lightweight, Kamani Jr., and I don't find him acceptable. Who cares if you find him acceptable? These advisors have convinced the moron that the Iranians will ask him who their new leader should be. Can you imagine anything dumber in the world? They're dug in. They've got more than 1 million troops in Iran, 4 times the size of Iraq. They're not going anywhere. This regime is totally embedded. It's like removing the entire US military and all the US police. How hard would that be? Well, it's gonna be hard anywhere. And look at what the Vietnamese did to us with guerrilla warfare. Well, look at what the Afghans did to us. They had nothing. They had nothing. And and we couldn't come close to beating them. It's not because we can't, quote unquote, win. It's not that we can't destroy a whole bunch of things. It's not like they're gonna take Albuquerque, right? But the one thing we can't do is win in the way that Israel wants, which is go in there, kill their entire military and their entire police force, and take over the government, put in Israel's puppet. That's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. It's gonna be a slaughterhouse. So now they say, okay, but hey, wait a minute. These guys are cowards. It'll be no problem at all. They're sitting there in their bunker. First of all, where are they supposed to be? Like when you hit them in their own palace, I thought they were incredibly dumb to stay in their own palace. And you killed the Ayatollah and 49 top members of the regime. You said, they're so stupid. They just sat there out in the open. Now if they're in a bunker, they're like, they're cowards, can't go in the bunker. So where are they supposed to go? Outer space, right? So meanwhile though, are they cowards? Because look at this amazing video. This is not the Ayatollah, but the Iranian president in the streets of Tehran, B5, watch this. And that's him right there, just marching through the streets of Tehran, no security, everybody's there. Basically, they're saying, what are you gonna do, bro? Like the foreign minister said, we welcome you. We're looking forward to you coming. Come on in. Because once we go on the ground, we're screwed. So now, last thing here, the Iranians are cowards, right? This is gonna be easy. Now I'm gonna show you a different video from Iran. So you're not seeing this on mainstream media, but that's why we're showing it to you here. Because if you saw it, you see the bombs going off in the front, American and Israeli bombs. You see this giant parade. They're walking towards the bombs. They don't care. They're saying, we welcome you. Come on and find out. This is going to be easy.
Yeah.
They're about to surrender. That's what Trump told the G7 leaders. They must have walked out of the meeting going, oh my God, we're totally screwed. This guy has no idea what he's doing. When we ask him what's the goal of the war, he says he doesn't know. And we ask him about how badly it's going, and he says they're about to surrender and that he's gonna pick their leader. John, he is literally delusional. It's not hyperbolic, it's not symbolic, it's not partisanship. No, the president is delusional, has no idea what's going on the ground.
Yeah, I agree. I'm sure you remember, was it Baghdad Bob? Now he's on our side. He's in charge of the war effort. Actually, it's utterly insane. I'll end because I know we don't have time. I feel terrible for the Iranian people, many of whom probably were justifiably hopeful that somehow Trump and Netanyahu bombing Iran would help them. I didn't think that it would, but I hoped, because I do want them to be free. Trump doesn't care, and Netanyahu wants them to be ruled by a despot who does the will of right-wing, politicians in Israel or whatever. But I do feel terrible for them. But I also understand that when you start indiscriminately killing a civilian population, some of them will turn back towards the regime at that point. They're not going to look fondly upon the people who not only, again, slaughter their young girls, but refuse to actually own up to it, let alone apologize. I mean, we're never getting that out of Hegseth, Donald Trump, Marco Rubio, or anything. So what would you think of that administration? Maybe you'd join a parade and march against them at that point. Anyway, that's it for me, Cenk, if you have any other comments.
Yeah, no, it's the most obvious thing in the world, and we're getting messages from Iranian expats all across the world because this is a global show, and what they're saying is, yeah, whatever support was left for replacing the regime is kind of evaporated, because once you start dropping bombs on Iranian children's heads, of course they're gonna rally around the flag, and they've rallied around the flag. So now they're dug in for war. And remember, guys, it's not just America. America's the smaller issue for the Iranians. They would have to surrender to Israel after all that Israel has done to them and to the region. The Iranians are never going to surrender to Israel. So get that through your thick heads if you're still one of these guys who believes that Trump is a demigod and he's got all this planned out and he's got 4-dimensional chess coming from him. 4-dimensional chess. He couldn't play normal checkers. He's a moron and he's delusional. And guys, we're gonna run out of missiles. We're gonna run out of defensive missiles. Then what are we gonna do? Then you're gonna put in ground troops but withdraw your ships? No, this is an epic, epic disaster, and it's only gonna get worse. Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets its wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.